Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach and we're doing the ECOMI VeVe video as usual. Currently the price is 0.005445 and a low of 4851 and a high of 562. We are literally we were somewhat coming up to the sixes. That's ridiculous. We're literally in not an all-time high, but we're definitely in like a 4 or 5 month high. This is actually crazy. This video isn't about that, but just wanted to point that out. It's really interesting to see. Having said that, I was watching a Women X VeVe video again today. We're going to be doing more of these, sort of looking at what the ECOMI team are doing, because the ECOMI team are I see spread out across numerous different podcasts over the past month. That I want to have a look at what they've been talking about, find the best information to provide you online, you know, in a more sort of titled and thumbnailed format, as you can see with the channel that I'm doing right now. Anyway, that said, I want to talk about Rev Alex G, because Alex G has been working with ECOMI for a bit now. He works on, I believe, like the marketing, the social media end of stuff, and Wendy Stabalis, she's being great at posting some really good Women X VeVe podcast stuff, going over ECOMI stuff. Really grateful that they are all putting this together. Really awesome to see. In this video, we're going to be looking at Alex's background, because Alex's background, and I think this is important for anyone who works with ECOMI, right, or for ECOMI, is to know what they did before, because that really gives us an idea of who the team is and what they're able to do. And that's how I think a lot of us even have a passion and are excited about ECOMI in the first place, because of David Yu's background, because of Dan's background, because of Reese's background, of course, in a big way, because of Al's background being Alcana, of course, looking at Trevor's background being previously working at Riot on Legends of Runeterra. With that said, though, let's have a listen to, I believe Wendy asks here, what was Alex's work prior to ECOMI? She didn't say it in that way, that is just me paraphrasing it, and I want to go over why it's important with what he talks about. It excites me and I want to make a video about it.
So Alex, what did you do before VeVe and how did you know about ECOMI?
So let's just repeat that question again. What did you do before VeVe, and like how did you find ECOMI, basically? Really important question that I've never really seen anyone ask Alex before. In fairness, that's because I've been sort of I haven't been in touch as much with everything happening with VeVe lately, but regardless, it's a really good answer.
Immediately before or just in general?
Yes, just in general.
Yeah, so I've done a bunch of things. I'd say probably a majority of my career was in music and technology. So I got my start, if we really want to go in the Wayback Machine, I got my start in working at a CD store, like, you know, CDs. Wow. You remember CDs? Does anybody know what CD is anymore?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So was this like an Empire Records? Do you remember that movie?
Yes, of course. It wasn't on that scale, but it was like a small chain of music used CD stores in San Diego called Music Trader. Wow. And I worked there kind of through college, which was a great experience. And I had been doing college radio, and then I got the opportunity to go into actual radio. So I worked at a couple of different radio stations in San Diego, in commercial traffic, and then working on producing some morning shows. And then I actually had my own show on an AM station on Saturday nights. Wow. Focused on, I was big in the, rockabilly swing scene back in the day. So I'm a recovering rockabilly. So I was all kind of like rockabilly, old school, kind of Western swing, big band, hillbilly stuff. So I'd do that every Saturday night. And then I got the opportunity to move into digital music right when, like, the very early days when that thing was kind of popping off, when you still used to rip CDs into MP3s. And that company was called Music Match. And they had one of the first music services, online music services, like radio streaming, like pre-iTunes. And so I worked on programming internet radio stations for Music Match for a couple of years, and then moved up to LA to work on a new emerging technology called ringtones. Back when ringtones were a thing. Yeah. Flashback. Always on the cusp. Cool.
Amazing.
So there's a good chance, if you had a ringtone on your phone between, a certain amount of time, that I was the guy who picked that ringtone and picked what part of the song became that ringtone on your phone.
Now, this is really important because, and Alex goes through more stuff, but we have roughly, I have another window where this same video, I've already watched what we're watching, if that makes sense, so to know what I'm going to be talking about. This is like the first part of a longer thing that Alex talks about, but it's really important that he was doing that back in the day, right? He was capturing moments of music, and it was a really big part of the music industry. I'm honestly too young to really experience and be able to feel that from a personal level, I guess, like I do now with, if something happens in esports, that will now register with me, etc., etc. But it's important, and you'll hear more about Alex's background that tells us about how he has essentially had to beat. Music is all about, as far as I'm aware at least, and as far as I'm concerned, about culture, right? A lot of culture and community is involved when it comes to music. And the same thing, of course, in business with NFTs is all about community and culture. So the fact that, he's doing the social media, the marketing for VeVe is really important, because highlighting the parts of this is really difficult to explain, but highlighting the parts of a topic or a cultural moment, and actually being able to, more than anything, being able to highlight, being able to register what will work and what won't to a large social base, right? A large community is really important and a really big skill to have. But let's continue listening.
Yeah, that was kind of my job, and it was hilarious and fun, and one of those things that I'll never forget, because it was like such a weird flash in the pan of a technology that people just don't even think twice about anymore. But back then it was like the next big business for the music industry.
Right. And again, he's saying that next big business for the music industry. And again, being a part of that journey is an incredibly valuable experience, because as you do one thing, if you're able to do something that's top tier in one industry, generally the likelihood is that you're able to do it again in a different industry, because you build up those skills. For example, with this channel, right? It's not the biggest channel in ECOMI by any means, but there's a reason for that. It's because I build other channels that have, I have channels that are a lot bigger than this. The channel that I've been slacking off on this channel for has now just hit like 101,000 subscribers, and I've got other pages, other projects that add another 100,000 subscribers. And so when it comes to ECOMI stuff, then I then felt comfortable, okay, well, over a longer period of time, ECOMI stuff, NFT stuff is a good project to take part in. So, as you do things that are really good in one area, then generally the steps that you took to learn that one thing, you can generally take similar steps to learn something else.
So I did that for a few years, and then moved over to Universal Music Group and worked with Universal Music Group on more kind of mobile music projects.
Universal Music Group, important, because I just realized that I know what that is. Unfortunately, I know what it is for a bad reason. The reason why I know what it is because UMGR are they're pretty much notorious in the YouTube scene for copyright claims. But as you can see, they literally represent the biggest artists in the world. I'm actually not sure 17, but it looks like a K-pop thing. Then you have Kanye West, right? Taylor Swift, ABBA, Coldplay, Lana Del Rey. These people who I'm honestly not sure of. Lady Gaga, Lorde, DaBaby. So all these people, right? Rihanna, the biggest names in the industry. And we're going to continue going on with this later on, because what Alex is about to say will add up even more.
And eventually was asked to come on board for a new venture that Universal and Sony were starting called VeVo. So VeVo, I worked for, which is also hilarious because it had like a similar logo and obviously a similar name to VeVe. I was technically employee number one at that company, and worked on everything from, social strategy to content and programming to content production. So basically VeVo was the first multi-channel network on YouTube, and it was like where you would see the official high definition music videos.
Whoops, wrong screen, my bad. Y'all realize how big that is? VeVo changed they changed how music is consumed really globally, right? Because we're talking about YouTube, which is the largest video platform in the entire world, right? VeVe changed the game with that. As he's saying, it was an MCN, being a multi-channel network. MCNs have not so good reputations 5 years later, roughly, but I'm not sure VeVe would have been put in the same category as that. Maybe they would. I'm honestly not aware, honestly. But it's really important because that shows that Alex has had experience in building social experiences for hundreds of millions, if not billions of people. VeVe has many billions of views, and actually we're going to continue looking at VeVe very quickly. This is VeVe's website. Now, when Alex brought up VeVe and being one of the first employees there, that is really interesting. Oh, whoops, I just realized I haven't actually shown you what I'm trying to show you here. Here we go. I'm looking at VeVe's website right here. This is incredible, right? The fact that he was one of the first there, because whilst VeVe, I think, had some level of competition, or, I think basically anyone who wanted to try and post music videos couldn't really, because VeVe was essentially the one that everyone went to. Regardless of that, VeVe was immensely successful, and a lot of work would have to be done to actually create something as large as this. Essentially, it's where everyone goes for official music. So these artists that you're seeing right here, they will all be they'll all be signed probably with VeVe to a certain extent. They'll all have a VeVe channel, and you'll have noticed VeVe, but you might not be aware of what it was. You might have just sort of recognized it as part of the name of a channel when you were listening to a music video. But of course, they have Ariana Grande, and they also work with many other people. If we have a look at the About real quick, I actually haven't clicked on this, but if we click on About, we'll hopefully see some sort of About section if the VeVe website is working, which I'm not sure if it is. But as we can see here, as it's loading, by the numbers, 1.1 billion hours viewed per month, 26 billion views per month, and 450,000 videos, again, of some of the biggest people in the scene. I'm not sure why my VeVe is not working. Let's try and restart it in a different tab and see if that works better for us. It does. Okay, About VeVe, the world's largest all-premium music video provider, offering artists a global platform with enormous scale through its distribution partners. VeVe connects artists with their audience globally via music videos and original content, working directly with them to find unique ways to bring their music to life. Essentially, they are the official sort of brand that any large artist, generally at least, goes to for music distribution. And the fact that Alex was one of the first people to work in that scene, especially on that company, tells us that Alex has seen the strategy that it took for these artists to really move forward, right? Especially if he was working on the social strategy for this, then he's really seen what's important here is consumer behavior, actually. That's what I'm trying to get at. He'll have seen consumer behavior, and he'll have had to try and work around, because that's all this business stuff is, especially when you're talking in a B2C environment, which it very much is a B2C environment. Like, this whole thing, all the music videos that I watched on YouTube are generally watched by consumers of every sort of demographic, age, everything, right? In B2B, it's different, right? You generally have a different audience, but he'll have had experience working with consumers, right?
From the record labels, because before that, it was kind of like Wild West on YouTube, like people, filming things off the TV and then uploading it to YouTube, or anything. The only Rihanna song you could get was a video of somebody's cat dancing to, Umbrella or something like that. So, that was a lot of fun, and it had the backing of the record label. So we had a lot of cool artist access. So I got to work with a lot of artists, in premiering their videos. So that was a lot of fun. And I spent
a lot of artists, again, just saying, any of these artists that you're seeing right here could have been those artists, right? Any of these artists, Drake Bell, you have, I'm just naming people I know at this point, Lady Gaga, Metallica, J Balvin, Adele, Jay-Z, Mariah Carey, Will Smith. All these people, it's very likely that Alex will have had some hand in shaping sort of how their channels went from a music video standpoint. I'm not sure what his actual role was specifically there, because he hasn't specified exactly, apart from obviously social media strategy. But that is really good, because that's what he's doing for VeVe, is social media and marketing strategy. So to know that he's doing that for VeVe now, after working, essentially, when we think about it, like, think about when we saw CPMK working with VeVe, or ECOMI, we got so excited because we saw all these big names, right? CPMK. our VVR CPMK, right? So if we go over here real quick, we can see, of course, that we'll look at some of the icons that they work with. And we were so excited about how this could work with here we have representation. We were so excited about how this could work with VeVe. You know, will we be seeing certain artists that are in CPMK work with, such as, you know, we have Jamie Foxx here, Billy Bob Thornton, Ansel Elgort, so I've got the name wrong. All these massively successful artists and, you know, actors and comedians, etc. It's really exciting, right? It's really exciting that Alex has worked with all these very influential people to try and strategize something for billions of people. Well, millions of people that eventually turns into billions in terms of statistics, which we've already seen from Vevo talking about having like 1 billion hours watched, or literally 1 billion hours viewed, right?
You know, and then I took a little bit sabbatical to help my father through his journey with cancer. He had just got diagnosed with cancer, so I took some well-needed time off to help him, you know, figure that out. And unfortunately, that journey didn't last too long. And then it was from there, it was for me to decide, like, okay, well, what do I want to do with my life now? Like, I'd done the music industry thing for so long, and it was, you know, I'm a huge music fan, A. But B, like, working in it is like, I use the analogy often, like, you know, once you've seen the sausage made, you kind of want to maybe not have sausage for a little while. So I went back to being a music fan, and I, you know, really started enjoying going back to concerts and discovering new music and spending a lot of time on Spotify. And I found a couple, you know, did a couple odd jobs here and there, did some consulting work with some startups and a nutrition company, did some agency work, advertising agency work, worked in social for Acura, Ring doorbells, a company that was like a used car sales kind of Carvana competitor briefly. And then I got a random outreach on LinkedIn from a guy asking if I've ever heard of NFTs. And I was like, well, yeah, but isn't that like those weird, you know, art things that are going for millions of dollars? Like, isn't that pretty speculative at this point? He's like, well, yeah, but there's this company called VeVe. And I'm like, come on, you're kidding me, right? You just looked me up because I worked at Vevo. Is that the joke here? Do I actually know you? Are you messing with me? It's like, no, it's like, you know, this company has really big licenses. They've got Universal, they've got Sony, they got Marvel, and then like record scratch, Marvel. And so I took the meeting, Alex?
You knew about Marvel then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew
How
well
long
before.
ago was that?
So that was in May, late May. So like the turnaround was really quick because and I still feel bad about this, but I had just started a new job, like maybe it was 2 months into it. And then I got this call.
You don't feel that bad.
I don't feel that bad now. I mean, but at the time I was like, oh man, what do I do? Because I just started this job and I was, you know, it was like a new client for this agency and I was really excited about it. But at the same time, it's like, and I was working in automotive and it just wasn't like a big passion thing for me. You know, I missed kind of entertainment music. And then obviously when I heard Marvel, I got super excited. So yeah, one of my first things was meeting with Dan and just to kind of hear the vision was pretty inspiring. And from there, I and my fiance still thinks it's funny to this day because I said, listen to me, there's these things called NFTs. Hear me out. I'm going to go spend a couple of days. I'm going to rent a tiny house in the desert and I'm going to go there by myself. And I'm going to spend like 3 days researching NFTs because I know nothing about them. So I went right to Airbnb and I got a super tiny house in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And I just dove in. And by the end of it, it was like, okay, we're on and I'm starting next week. And it was, it was crazy.
Music was in the pitch. Music was in the pitch. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally. I mean, I was, you know, I think, no, music meaning like, you know, having, running social for a company of that caliber and having my finger in the pulse of communities and things like that. So that was what I mean by music in the pitch. Otherwise, we're still kind of discussing what music means in the grander scheme of VeVe.
Right.
But I gotta say, like, it was one of those things where I told people about it. It's like, hey, I don't know what to do here. Like, there's this opportunity I have. And like everybody except one person was like, I don't know, that sounds sketchy, man. I wouldn't, you have a good job. You just started this job and like you have benefits and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but man, not that I don't have benefits now, but I had to,
Yeah.
but it was like one of those things where I was like, there was one person who was like, you know what? I know you've been wanting to do something different for a while now, and I think you should just do it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So yeah, here I am, a couple months later, VeVe fam forever. I'm in.
Yeah.
So a really interesting onboarding. And one of my first projects to work on was that Marvel reveal video. And so my first day on the job, my actual first full-time day on the job was the day that press release went out with my name at the bottom of it on Marvel's homepage. And that was just like,
Wow.
So this video is already 21 minutes long. Way too long, honestly. I spoke too much about the whole music industry and how excited I was, but I'm glad that we got through it, and I'm glad that hopefully this will give you a bit more insight as to who Alex is. We'll be going over more of Women X VeVe content at some point, I'm sure. Thank you again, of course, to I'm assuming Wendy's the one. Wendy is the one who is getting all this all together. At the very least, she's uploading this to her YouTube channel. So thank you very much for posting this to the channel. It's always very insightful. With that being said, though, we'll have more stuff coming up. As you can probably see, I'm posting a lot right now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.